going to get started, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your dinner. And again, welcome and thank you for being here tonight as we honor our Hall of Fame Rebels. My name is Kevin Bollinger from Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, which is the proud home of the Reb Zone every week. And we also are broadcasting UNLV athletic games in the fall, winter, and the spring, from football taking you all the way through the softball season. We're now broadcasting those games on air. And happy to announce that we've just extended our commitment and partnership with UNLV for another 3 years. So we're going to keep on doing that with you. You might notice when they opened up the shades there, we have the sphere out here to the right, the first time that we've had that. And the eyeball keeps showing up like it's looking at us. I think it's the people at UNR wondering what a Hall of Fame is, trying to peek in with us. Had to throw that in there. Again, such a great group we have here tonight. This is the largest Hall of Fame ceremony that we've had here at UNLV in all of the years that they've done that. So thank you to everybody coming out and supporting it. Our university president, Dr. Keith E. Whitfield, is a huge supporter of UNLV athletics, and he loves this event more than anything. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight. He is out of town. And he's very upset that he could not be here, but he did tape a message before he left, and let's hear from Dr. Whitfield.
Good evening, and welcome to the 16th Annual UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. I'm UNLV President Keith Whitfield. Tonight, we'll honor former UNLV athletes, teams, coaches, staff, and supporters who have all earned the distinction as legends of UNLV athletics. This year's lineup includes electrifying athletes from the gridiron and diamond, a national champion-winning golf coach, a softball team that made a historic run into the College World Series, and longtime staff and supporters who have made many contributions to the success of UNLV athletics. We'll also recognize former Rebel football standout Steve Stallworth with the 2024 Silver Rebel Award. As we continue our rise into a global sports city, I like to remind people that they should not forget that UNLV was this town's original home team. And our current group of student athletes and coaches have given UNLV fans plenty to cheer for. But tonight is all about our Hall of Famers. You helped make UNLV athletics what it is today. And our success is a testament to the honorees here with us tonight. And to all of our Hall of Famers who played a role in sparking the passion for UNLV athletics in Las Vegas and beyond. From our athletes of yesteryear to our current athletes, students, coaches, and staff, all of you make me very proud to be part of UNLV. You represent our university with class, integrity, and passion. You all are the very definition of what it means to be a Rebel. And for today's honorees, you all have proven what it means to be a Hall of Famer. Congratulations to you all, and go Rebels.
Thank you, Dr. Whitfield. You know, UNLV athletics keeps growing, keeps getting better and better and better, and it keeps growing and getting better because of the man that's in charge of the athletic department. He is starting to take this university's athletic program to the next level. So it is my honor to bring out the Director of Athletics at UNLV, Mr. Eric Harper.
Thank you, Kevin. Wow, this is awesome to have this many people here in this beautiful room with this beautiful view. And we will continue to do the things that we need to do for our student athletes. But also, we want to make sure that we're honoring former Rebels for all that you've done to make UNLV great. And as I was speaking with Christine earlier, you know, we can all wake up every single day and be good. But to be great, we got to have some more effort and a strong attitude. So effort and attitude can help us become great. And every single day we wake up and we're good. That's simple. But to be great, we have to have powerful effort and a lot of great attitude. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2024 UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. On behalf of UNLV, the Athletics Department, and the entire Athletics Hall of Fame Board, I thank you for being here this evening. Before I begin, I want to recognize Mike Newcomb, Cheryl, and the Thomas and Mack Center staff for hosting us in this beautiful space. Also Kathy, for her by design team for creating this wonderful setting for us, tables, chairs, centerpieces, and all. Just a wonderful work by design for this amazing staging. And also, thanks to one of our honorees this evening, and Mr. Steve Stallworth, and everyone at the South Point Hotel for once again hosting our out-of-town inductees. So thank you, Steve. I'd like to also thank our table sponsors who are listed on the back of your program for their generous support. It's just, we can't have events like this without the support of generous people sponsoring this event, and just makes it a wonderful opportunity. Also, let me give a shout out to our MC tonight, Mr. Kevin Bollinger, for donating his time on Friday night. Checks in the mail, Kevin. Every few years, the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame Board works hard to select and vote on the best representatives for this great honor. Without question again, we have accomplished that goal. Tonight, with all of our inductees, we find it fitting to gather here on campus to honor 5 individual former student athletes, 1 legendary coach, a longtime staff member, and distinguished contributor, along with a record-breaking team as they make up the class of 2024. Congratulations to Hunky, Kevin, Christine, Tant, for setting high standards for competition in your respective sports. As most certainly did our entire 91 softball squad, let me convey my appreciation to former director, and this next gentleman, if you've been in college athletics long enough, every single equipment manager has a nickname. I was with a guy at Kansas State named Shorty. I was with a guy at Arizona named Big Win. And then I got here, and I said, who's the equipment person here? And all they could say was Pooch. I said, Pooch? What is that? But Paul Pucciarelli here tonight as an inductee. And here's a man who made Rebel Golf a powerhouse, and that's Dwayne Knight. Thank you, Coach. And of course, our Silver Rebel Award winner, former Rebel quarterback, Steve Stallworth. Who has been very, very instrumental in turning Las Vegas into the sports and entertainment capital of the world. This will be something you will always remember, so enjoy tonight's ceremony. The Hall of Fame Board is comprised of members from both athletics, campus community, and 4 former student athletes. They work hard to not only review the nominations from the public, but voting on each nominee. But they also attend regular meetings, spends a lot of hours planning and helping this memorable event. At this time, I would like to acknowledge each of them. As I read your name, please stand, remain standing while we hold our applause until the end. Deputy Athletic Director Mike Ketchum, Senior Director of Development Ashley Hart, that's Senior Women's Administrator Mallory Poole, Associate Athletic Director for Facilities and Game Operations Eric Schwartz, and I'm going to mess this last name up, but Von Kadlebick, Mark Wellington, Dick Calvert, Ted Quirk, Ray Brewer, Savannah Stallworth, and she was excused from the room when the voting came on Steve, so just so everybody knows that. Tina Mabante, Michael Core from Fox 5, Tony Terrell, Leon Samansky, Becky Pugh, and Dr. Blair Thomas. Please give them a round of applause. I also want to give sincere thanks to members of our talented athletic staff who helped make tonight such a success, led by my Director of Executive Administration, Sarah Doty. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication. And most of all, thank you for letting my wife know that this event was happening tonight, because I forgot to tell her. And I'm going to take a moment to recognize my lovely, beautiful wife, Patrice Hester, there in the back. Getting some brownie points. Thank you also to Stephanie Valentino, Kelly McGinnis, and Tasha Smith, our Director of Equipment, and her nickname is Tosh. So there we go again. Carl Feek, and our special shout out to Ricky Witt and Matt Steik from our creative team who produced the artwork and induction videos that you'll see tonight. Please do give them a round of applause. We have three of our wonderful coaches here tonight. Softball head coach Christy Fox, from women's golf, Amy Bush-Herzer, and from men's golf, JP Aber. Thanks for being here, and let's give all of them a round of applause again as we get ready for the induction ceremony. Finally, I'd like to want to recognize some previous individual Hall of Fame inductees who are in attendance tonight. Jeremy Anderson, men's golf. Dr. Tony Terrell, football, class of 22. And recently named a faculty athletic rep for UNLV athletics, so it's very nice to have Tony being a former student athlete, a Hall of Famer, and now over our faculty athletic reps, which will kind of keeps us in line as relative to what academics are on campus, and also works with our compliance department relative to NCAA rules. Also want to recognize from the class of 22, Drs. Craig Hamilton and Keith Cohorst. Someone you'll be hearing from later tonight, Lori Harrigan-Mack, softball. Cindy Paris, softball, from the 91 men's golf individual. And the 91 men's golf individual champion, Warren Scooter. Legendary former baseball head coach, Fred Dallimore. Our committee's own distinguished contributor, Dick Calvert. I want to thank you for being here tonight and supporting UNLV athletics and these wonderful Hall of Fame inductees. What it is today, and for thanking you for being here tonight. It's a wonderful evening. Go Rebels.
Thank you, Harp. Let's get the show on the road, shall we? We start our ceremony tonight with a very special presentation. The Silver Rebel Award is a prestigious honor that's presented by the Hall of Fame's Executive Board to a former UNLV player, coach, or staff member whose biggest efforts earning positive recognition for the university came after leaving campus. Tonight's honoree earned the nickname Strip while playing for the football Rebels, but he's lived up to that moniker ever since with his passion and love for helping to lure the world's best events to right here in Las Vegas, his adopted hometown. The former Rebel quarterback from 1983 to 1986 took over as the starter under center as a junior, and he eventually left ranked 4th in career yardage at the school, but he remained in town, as we all know. He is now well known for his decades serving as a community leader, and he currently oversees the South Point Arena, which is widely regarded as the premier equestrian facility in the United States. Whether it was over at the Orleans, or in this very building here at the Thomas and Mack, or over at Sam Boyd Stadium, whether it was the CFL, the Arena League, even indoor soccer, if sports was happening in Las Vegas, then more than likely he had a hand in it. Helping the city become recognized as the sports and entertainment capital of the world, he ushered in the era of collegiate events targeting Vegas by proving Southern Nevada was the perfect host. Please direct your attention now to the video screen over my shoulder to learn about the man they call Strip.
Hi, I'm Steve Stallworth. I played quarterback here at UNLV in the mid-'80s, and I have been a Rebel ever since. I came on my recruiting trip in 1982. That January, landed in Las Vegas, went immediately to the Pepper Mill and had breakfast, and just had a great weekend, and I knew this is where I wanted to be. I knew driving down Las Vegas Boulevard, this is where I wanted to be. But my dad was not so keen on me coming to Las Vegas. My dad was a cop, and he had some reservations. So at the Super Bowl party at the old Holiday Inn Casino, I met a guy named Rex Bell, our district attorney, and I shared that story with Rex, and he said, "Can I call your dad?" And he called my dad right from there, and he came back to me about 20 minutes later, and he goes, "Your dad says you can come here if you want." So that's how I ended up in Las Vegas. Got here June 10th, 1982. I was 17 years old. The next day I got to be an usher at the Holmes-Cooney fight at Caesar's Palace, and I just thought this was the greatest place in the world. So it's been a love affair ever since. So I have been very blessed here in Vegas, and I have been very blessed to be able to work for leaders in our community, men, real men, guys that cared about UNLV, that cared about our community, and I am so blessed to have been able to do that. So my first job out of college was with a guy named Sig Rogich, and I love Sig to this day, and you know, I learned the value of networking from Sig and just meeting so many people in Las Vegas. I then went to work for David Hum and Tom Hum, very famous guys in town who really just taught me the value of hard work and that work ethic and doing the right thing always. Then I came to work for Pat Christensen here at the Thomas and Mack Center, and you know, Pat taught us all the value of planning, having a vision for what you want to be and what you want to do, and you know, it was just a great experience being with him. And then for the last 24 years, I've been with a guy named Michael Gaughan. And what I've learned from Michael more than anything is to keep things simple and trust your gut. And we've had a great run with Michael, and I just want to, you know, thank him too for allowing me to spend time and his money to support UNLV all these years. And like I said, every person that I've worked for and been a part of has just been a great leader, starting with my dad to Harvey Hyde and then to all the guys that I worked for. So I've been very blessed. I'm Steve Stallworth, and I will always be a rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help us in welcoming the 5th ever winner of the Hall of Fame's Silver Rebel Award, Mr. Steve Stallworth.
The good news for you guys is that video was basically my speech, so I'm not going to have to say a whole lot. I never would have thought that this 17-year-old redhead, redneck, skinny kid from Yuma, Arizona would ever be up here. The only person in this room that ever thought I would be up here is at my table, and that's my mom. Mom, thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate you. I'm blessed to have my daughter, who's my sports junkie, Savannah, here. Her husband, former Rebel football player, Bo Orth. She's pregnant. This will be fun. We've got another Rebel coming. My son, Stetson, quarterback. His fiance, Andy, is here. And I met this beautiful woman, Stephanie, 39 years ago at a class at UNLV. And this year we'll celebrate our 35th wedding anniversary. So thank you, baby. Yes. I want to congratulate all the other inductees. I was talking to Coach Bane here earlier, and Coach Bane and I were together here in 1982, that first year that I got here. And Coach, you and me and maybe Coach Knight, we might be the only old enough guys here to remember all of these inductees, watched all of you play, and I just want to congratulate all of you for tonight. It's a special night. It's so true what the video said. When I got here, I wanted to be here. I felt it. And meeting Rex Bell that day on my recruiting trip was really, really a turning point in me being able to be here. When I got here, I was so inspired by some of the men that were involved with UNLV, and Dr. Quirk is here tonight, of course, and Wildcat Morris, and Tom the Big Dog Wiesner, and Jack Kaysen, and Ernie Becker. You know, some of these guys that were really inspiring for me. And I was on the original NIL program. The original NIL program is you get a scholarship. You get school paid for. You get 3 square meals a day. You get a roof over your head. You get to travel to places that you would never, ever go, a kid from a small town. And I just was so blessed and so thankful and so grateful always that I always said to myself, I'm going to pay that scholarship back one day. Somehow I'm going to pay that university back for the education and the life I got to live, to hang out with guys that have become my best friends for the last 40 years, my teammates, and to share the stories and to grow up together as men was something I'll never forget. That whole scholarship thing, I don't know who created that or invented that, but it was kind of cool. So we are all very blessed to have been on that program. And anyway, it's been a love affair ever since. I talked about the special men in my life, and it's very, very true. And the one man I want to talk about is Michael Gaughan. For 24 years, I've been able to work for him, and he allowed me to build 2 arenas, the Orleans Arena, the South Point Arena and Equestrian Center. And, you know, he's one of those guys who just would always say to me, trust your gut, keep it simple. And, you know, it's hard to keep things simple. It's hard sometimes to trust your gut. And I'm so blessed that he's been in my life. And I have told, somebody asked me today, well, what's your retirement plan? I said, my retirement plan is I'm hanging with Michael Gaughan as long as I can. So he has allowed me to be me. And that's what I appreciate about him the most, because he has allowed me to spend time on things that I love on UNLV, and he's allowed me to use his checkbook every once in a while, which is always good. I want to also just give my thanks to UNLV and our Las Vegas community. What happens in this city, what happens at this university is so inspiring to me every day. All of you were here, have been here for years, and have seen what has happened here. What's going to happen in the next 20 or 30 years is going to be even more exciting than what we've seen right now. So I've learned if you work hard, if you do the right things, if you're fearless in what you do, you can accomplish anything. So I just want you, Eric, to know, and UNLV, that I can promise you one thing. I'm going to continue to do my best to pay back that scholarship that I got 40 years ago. So thank you all very, very much.
We're going to be going alphabetically this evening for our Hall of Fame inductees. And our first inductee is a Las Vegas born and bred. Whether through financial support or donating his time, this local businessman's unwavering commitment to athletics on all levels in Southern Nevada is ultimately highlighted by his love for his alma mater here at UNLV. Briefly leaving the Silver State to play college football, he did eventually earn 2 degrees from his hometown university. He was a coach at Western and Bonanza High Schools here in town. He also served as a graduate assistant for the legendary Harvey Hyde and the Hall of Fame 1984 Rebel Grid Squad. A well-respected sports official, he began his officiating career in the 70s, and he has been on the courts, the fields, in the press boxes, across the region ever since then. He's worked countless football, basketball, baseball games, always looking to give back. He's a longtime UNLV donor. He supported youth, high school, and collegiate sports for more than 4 decades now, all of which help make his resume as a distinguished contributor. Let's watch the video boards as we officially learn more about Bruce Bane.
My name is Bruce Bane. I've been part of UNLV for nearly 50 years, and I'm a rebel. Well, of course, I was born and raised in Las Vegas, and, well, I was born in 1957 when Nevada Southern came to town. And so In 1975, when I went off to Dixie College to play some football, I always had visions of maybe returning to UNLV. I had a pretty successful career at Dixie. I was 6'2", I was 165 pounds, and the downside to that was I played center. And I was packing up, getting ready to leave, and I was going to go to Weber State on a leadership scholarship. But my father was in Saudi Arabia helping put me through school, and asked me to come home and go to UNLV to help my mom with my two younger brothers. So I did that, and so I enrolled in the fall of 1977 at UNLV and got my bachelor's degree in December of '79. And then started coaching in the Clark County School District, and had an opportunity to coach basketball with a guy by the name of Joe Stein, and there were these twin Ayala boys on the team. And of course, Coach Ayala was the women's coach here at UNLV. And after a game one night, we had dinner together, and he says, "You're a heck of a coach." And I was coaching football as well, and he says, "I know Harvey Hyde real well. Why don't you come out and be a graduate assistant for him?" So in 1983, I came out and was with UNLV for 2 years under Harvey Hyde. In fact, when we won the California Bowl. And so since my graduation, since my opportunity to be a graduate coach, I've been involved one way or another. I umpired Division I baseball, started umpiring UNLV games in 1978. And Fred Dalmore was the head coach. Coach Doring just left. Fred gave me an opportunity to do that, and so I umpired UNLV games for 30 years. In fact, when I was a graduate assistant, Reggie Farmer and I would leave spring. Harvey would let Reggie and I leave practice early to go participate in a UNLV baseball game. So it's been a long time, a lot of fun, and I've always been a rebel, and will continue to be. I am Bruce Bane, and I will always be a rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. James Bruce Bane.
Many of you might not be able to see, but I brought 40 people here with me tonight. Mark hasn't charged my credit card for my tables because he says we got to stay on time, so he's charging me by syllable, so this will be short. You know, across the country and even throughout the world, on Sundays, there's a hymn that's sung, "Because I have been given much, I too must give." And that's my marching orders. That's why I give, is I know it's the Lord's way. I know it was my parents' way. I know it was my in-laws' way. And I know after 44 years of marriage, with the greatest woman who's opened her heart, opened her doors to children and others. She's raised them, she's loved them like her own, and she has the greatest example of how to give of oneself. And I'd like to recognize my wife, Laurie. You know, you heard the word coach, and you heard the word officiate. Well, I did get close. At least I had a phone call from UNLV when I was at Dixie. I was in the weight room, and Lee Bunnell, who used to be the head coach at Rancho High School here, went up and was the head coach at Dixie. And I was in the weight room, and I think I was cleaning it because I wasn't much of a weightlifter, but he comes to the weight room. He says, hey, I have a phone call for you in my office. I said, who's that? He says, Tony Knapp. I said, really? He goes, yeah, he wants to talk to you. So I hustle into Coach Bunnell's office, and I pick up the phone, and I said, hello? He said, this is Tony Knapp. I says, yeah, Coach. He goes, I hear you're in all-conference center. I says, yeah, Coach. He says, how tall are you? I said, 6'2". He said, how much do you weigh? I said, 165. Hello? 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 That's the closest I got for playing at UNLV. So I have a saying, when you can't play anymore, you coach. And I got to do that here at UNLV, Western High School, Bonanza High School, and it was a thrill of my life. Great honor to be able to be involved with each and every one of those programs. And then, when you can't coach anymore, you officiate. And I started officiating. In fact, during my coaching career, I always coached. You know, we had a total of 8 children, and if you count, I have 17 grandchildren, and now I have 5 great-grandchildren. My wife's raised them all while I've been officiating or doing something else on the weekends. But anyway, so if you can't play, you coach. If you can't coach, you officiate. And now, the best thing, in 2007, I got hired as a replay official. So if you can't, when all else fails, you replay. So, anyways, I'd like to start from the beginning. In 1977, there were some people at UNLV that helped me. I never knew this, but you can graduate with a dual major. And I was close. I graduated in special education and physical education and with a dual major, and there were some special people, Dr. Judith Detry and Dr. Bird and Dr. Wagenseller. Wagenseller's son ended up being a basketball coach at Gorman, and those people in special education. And then Pat Dillingham and Alice Mason and the likes of them in the PE department all helped me and gave to me their time and talent in showing me how I could be successful and graduate with a dual major. And I did that in 1979. And then if you're in education, you've got to have a master's degree or you can't feed your family. And so I was going to have a master's degree before I was 30 years old. Coach Ayala recommended and gave me a chance. And what did UNLV do? They gave me a master's degree in educational psychology and counseling, which allowed me to do a bunch of things. I was private counseling practice and a whole bunch of different things that I was able to do that. The other opportunity I had was with my wife's family, Bill and Wanda Piccoli, wonderful people, and they taught me that a very simple gift placed at the right time in the right place could influence and have an influence on the community. Bill Piccoli taught me that a strong university, a strong athletic department within that university made a strong community. And that is why that my wife and I have given and will continue to give in the fashion that we do. And there's many other people I could thank. I want to thank Mark, I want to thank Eric, I want to thank the committee. I've served on that committee. They didn't allow me to serve on it this year, but I've served on the selection committee, and I know the seriousness in which they undertake in selecting members that will appear before you tonight. And I appreciate that they had that confidence in me. With that, I thank my family for being here. I thank all my friends that are here. I thank each and every one of you. I thank the inductees who gave us wins, who gave us near wins, who gave us the thrills of almost wins, and then when falling short, they had the courage and the endurance to come back and try again the next week. I congratulate each and every one of you for your example and for the people that you are. There's one more guy I need to thank. One other thing I've been taught through life is be humble. It's hard to be up here and be humble. But Terry Cottle came to me and he says, it's time for you to be in the Hall of Fame. I said, oh, come on, Terry. I'm not that guy. I mean, I'm the kind of guy they call and say, hey, Bruce, we built this beautiful baseball stadium, but when the trash falls down underneath the stands, there's no way to clean it out. They didn't build any openings where people could get it. So I said, what do you want me to do? We'll come out here and figure it out. And so we cut holes in the masonry, put up some wrought iron gates, and now people can walk. So those are the kinds of things I did. I didn't think it was Hall of Fame worthy, but I thank you for thinking it was. One other thing, because it's still dangling out there, I don't know if it's been resolved or not, but I'm on the way to the airport, I get a phone call. They're going to build the Marnell clubhouse at the baseball field, and it's Timmy Chambers. He says, Bruce, where are you? I said, I'm almost to the airport. He says, great, you're close. I said, what's that mean? He says, well, you got to come by here. I said, for what? He says, I need you to sign a bond. I said, a bond? He says, yeah, we need a bond. The facilities won't let us go until we have a bond for a fire lane between the new facility, new Marnell building, and the football practice field. I said, well, what's that have to do with me? He says, you're the only guy I know that can sign the bond. I said, well, how much is this bond? He says, oh, not much. I said, Timmy, I'm not coming over unless you tell me how much the bond is. He said, $175,000. Anyways, I went over, I signed the bond, and I got on my plane. Laurie, I don't know if that bond's been resolved or not. We still might be up for $170,000. I'll tell you this. I'm a rebel. I'll always be a rebel. I love you, and I thank you.
Far and away the most versatile football player in UNLV history and one of the most versatile in college football history, our next inductee went on to become arguably the greatest player in arena football history. The Texas native transferred to UNLV after leading his JC team to a national championship under center. Yes, under center. He was a quarterback as well, Strip. But it wasn't just under center that he went. In 2 seasons as a Rebel, he started incredibly at least once and at no less 6 different positions on the football field. Running back, wide receiver, quarterback, kick returner, punt returner, and as a defensive back. In fact, he is one of just 3 Rebels in history to earn All-League at 2 different positions, joining Randall Cunningham and current versatile Rebel standout Jacob DeJesus. Mr. All-Purpose Performer eventually became a prominent figure in Phoenix after a long career with the AFL's Arizona Rattlers, whom he led to a pair of championships in the 1990s. He was twice named the league's Iron Man of the Year, and he decided to make Las Vegas his home. He spent some time on the radio calling UNLV games. He served as head coach at Canyon Springs High School here in town, and then he joined Jeff Horton over at San Diego State for nearly a decade. But he returned to campus last year. Las Vegas called him back home to serve on Barry Odom's first Rebel staff. His all-around talents continue to shine through his role as the Director of Player Development and Community Engagement. So let's go to the video boards right now here for more on Super Duper Hunky Cooper.
My name is Hernandez Hunky Cooper. I played football at UNLV in the 90s, and I am a Rebel. Growing up in East Texas, I was a football, baseball, and basketball player, and I'm pretty good at all of them. I had a basketball scholarship to play at Lon Mars Junior College. But I took the route to go to Trinity Valley Community College, which at the time was Henderson County Junior College. First African-American quarterback in the history of Trinity Valley Community College. Went there, had a little success, and just like now, it wasn't no such thing as a transfer portal, but I transferred. Leaving Navarro College, I had other opportunities to go to other universities, and I ended up coming to UNLV. Probably the best decision of my life. It was a university that gave me an opportunity to put my life on a positive path, give me an education that my mom couldn't afford, and built a lot of relationships and had a lot of great teammates here that I still that are still some of my best friends to this day. The city of Vegas has always been very welcoming and rewarding to me and to my family. And to get here in 1989 in the fall and play for Jeff Horton and Jim Strong and Scott Linehan, and Chuck Pagano, John Pagano, just Greg McMahon. There was so many great coaches that had so many great qualities. And I think, I know for a fact they impacted my life the rest of my life. So when you lose your father at 14, the men that came into my life saved my life. So if I had $100 million, I couldn't repay them, so I have to do it by serving. And the game of football has really been my river for me. It's given my kids an opportunity to get a college education. I met my wife here on this campus, and just the experience in the city as a high school football coach, as a Rebel football player, being a part of the 1990-91 national championship run in basketball, seeing where the city was and where the city is, has been life-changing for me. Working for the Colangelo family, Arena Football League, being a guy that went in there to play quarterback and never threw a ball unless it was a reverse pass. Great times, man. To be a world champion at anything that you do is a great accomplishment. But it really comes down to being a good teammate, having good roommates, and having a great soulmate. So I never played one game for myself. I played for my mother, who was a maid. I played for my father, who wasn't there to see me. I played for my kids, who were sharing their time. I played for my teammates, who had ability and talent. And we had to bring it all together for one common goal: to become world champions. After my journey in arena football, coming back through the collegiate ranks and being a head football coach at Canyon Springs High School, I'm back in my alma mater, and that's been it's been a blessing. It's been a lifelong dream to come back and to help our alma mater be a winner in football. And so I'm grateful for it. Look forward to continue to build the relationship with the young players and the people in this community. And like you said, once a Rebel, always a Rebel, and I'm proud to be a Rebel. I am Hunky Cooper, and I will always be a Rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Hernandez, Hunky Cooper.
Well, I know the stigma is all football players are tough, and so when I start crying, don't think for 1 minute I'm soft, because I'm not. First and foremost, I want to thank God, who's the head of my life, and without him, none of this is possible. Paul Pucciarelli, Brian White, Dick Calvert, I can go on and on about the men, Michael Gahn, that impacted my life, Steve Stallworth. And I don't really like to use names because I don't want to forget anybody. But what you guys done from a little country boy for East Texas is that you gave me hope. I watched that 1991 softball team, and I got to run the campus with them all the time, and they were some dogs. They, you know, I got to train Laurie's little boy when he was little, and to watch her pitch that softball and that rise ball, and I'm never understanding that. I watch Chris and Zenja, and I go back and I look at, you think you're impacting people's lives, and all the time the people are really impacting you. And I have some roommates and some teammates here that I want to stand up. I got my blind side over there, Jerry Reynolds. I got my roommate, Chuck Reed. I got my guy, Archie Perry, Dr. Archie Perry, who's one of the top spine surgeons in the country. He told me, say, Coop, I'm going to go to Reno and I'm going to be a doctor. And now he's one of the top spine surgeons in the country. Got Elgin Lofton. I got Dave, it's Alwyn Turnage. I got Jabbar Thomas. I got Talan Sawyer, these guys. I got the mentor. And when you're doing this, you have to move self out of the way. Today, I'm 3 months and 2 days older than my father. My father passed away when I was 14 years of age, and that's why I wore that number 14. And everywhere that I wore it, I tried to make sure that it was hanging in the ceiling. When you're the 8 to 10 kids, and your mother's a maid for 30 years, you don't worry about NIL, you worry about that NLI. It was huge to have that national letter of intent and to understand that my mother has a $300,000 burden removed. And I was able to get an education because I could run fast and jump high. And I said it in the video piece, when you're doing this, you take a lot of time from your wife and your kids, and I sent hundreds of kids to college, a lot to the NFL, but I got more kids baptized than I have put in the league. And so you lose so much time. I never got to see my son, my youngest son, play college football. My oldest son was a quarterback for Adrian Peterson. I have 2 daughters over here right now. One is leading research analyst in the state of Nevada. She went to that blue school, but I love her. And but she's 26 years old, and she works for the Nevada legislature. My 30-year-old daughter and her husband just about my first granddaughter here in the state of Nevada, and she's a nurse at Sunrise Hospital. We get to play against my son. He's a linebacker coach at Oregon State University. My high school coach is Paul Talbert, Carl Saxon. When men come into your life and save your life, you have a responsibility to give it back. And like I said, when I have if I had $100 million, I couldn't repay them. So when I look at young coaches like Mike Shear, and I look at guys like Barry Odom, and I sit down and talk with him for 30 minutes, and Stallworth hooked that up. Hunk, go sit down with him for 30 minutes. And we end up talking for 4 hours, and his vision was my vision. And the team that's been in this city the longest, since 1955 when they played at Cashman Field, was UNLV football. And you go back and you look through it all, the Las Vegas Aces have come here as an expansion team, and they've won. You got a hockey team winning world titles in the desert. Our women's softball team, I always talk about them. They were the very best. When I look at Oklahoma and Texas now, I think about them. And then, men's basketball had it popping, Tarkanians and Moose McGillicuddies and everything. But UNLV football has been here the longest, and it's our time. And I just want you guys to support us because it's 112 men in a locker room that come from different backgrounds. And if we don't develop them and raise them the right way, instead of them having an education and a degree and a resume in our neighborhood, they're going to have guns. And to be the head coach at Canyon Springs High School, I didn't do it just to do it. I did it because that's where it was needed. My son and my daughter went there. I wasn't going to pay for public or private school. They were going to go to public school and make private school grades, period. AP and honors classes. They graduated with over 4.2 GPAs there. And I wanted them to see what the real world was like. So people like Bill Paulus, people like Jerry Reynolds, people like the Football Foundation, Steve Stallworth, man, I can't say enough about you. I can't even look at you because I know what you've done for me and how you've done it. And everywhere that I go, you're there, so I know I'm at the right place. But I just want to be a vessel. I want to be a vessel. And the people that suffer the most is your family. My wife, God gave me a sick wife. And I refuse to have bad days because when I leave her, she's had probably 15 angiograms. She has 6 stents in the artery. She has a medicated stent inside of a stent. She's had a quintuple bypass. She takes 30 pills a day, but she never complains. We've adopted kids when parents left the high school to go overseas in the military. And when I say this, I don't say it for people to feel sorry for us because we're gonna live regardless. But to take care of our kids the way that she did, and behind every good man or in front of him is a good woman. And so to my wife, Tiffany, and if you look at my table, it's all women that have been around her whole life. And Katina and Elena and Debbie and, it's Tony, my cousin, who's my only family I ever had on the West Coast. And her sister, her mom and my mom are sisters, and I lost my mom next month, June 11th, will be 5 years. And she told me a long time ago, the things that you do for yourself will die and go to the grave with you. but the things you do for others to create a legacy that you cannot live. And I'm in those days with football fields being named after me and with going into the UNLV Football Hall of Fame. And these are things that I never dreamed of. I just wanted to never let my teammates down. And if you have a good roommate, a good teammate, and a good soulmate, everything is possible. So with that being said, I want every one of my guys that are my teammates, stand up for me real quick. 89, Jabbar, all you guys stand up. UNLV football, Archie. And this is what I want to say to every one of you guys. I want to say this. There's an African proverb called Ubuntu. UN, B-U-N-T-U. I am because you are. The only reason I stand here is because y'all still with me. And God knew what he was doing when he brought me to Southern Nevada. And I can't thank you enough for what you guys poured into me. And I promise you I'll live the rest of my life being a UNLV Rebel. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do to go to another team in the conference and come in here and take my kids out of here. But I'm a winner. And winners win. And so for all you that came out tonight, for all you that donate money, for all you that donate your time, for all you that give so much, I watched you officiate games for so many years, man, and didn't know what you were doing at UNLV. And I'm grateful for you. So I thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this special night. Harp, Mark, I really love this city, man. And to Lance, this city has done so much for me. And I met my wife at the student union. And I told her I was a quarterback, and she told me she had a boyfriend. I wasn't looking to talk to him. I'm the quarterback at UNLV, and so, and it was 18 months later, Elena was coming over to get a haircut, and I was getting ready to head off, and since April the 4th, 1994, we've been together, and you've been my rock. She hasn't worked in that length time either, but that's my girl. But Chuck Reed, we played in the junior college circuit together. You my roommate, you snuck out. You had a Foot Locker. Back then, we had Trailways. We didn't have money to fly. We didn't have NIL deals. He took a bus for 2 days with hot dogs and Snickers to go back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I knew he came from where I came from. It was nothing to go back home to. In my hometown, there was 2 high schools and 6 prisons. So I knew it was set for me to go. We went back and we got him. When he got there, Coach went down and picked him up and brought him back. And he snuck out again, and he went to the airport this time. And now he owns businesses here. The Super Bowl honored and recognized him. And he has a Medicaid. He does nothing but work with kids. I love you, man. And I thank you, Archie, Dink, man, Jabbar, Alwyn, Jerry Reynolds. I knew that guy cared about me. How can you get a guy from Kentucky and East Texas to get together? And all he's ever called me his whole life is brother. I love you, man, and I really appreciate it. Paul Pucciarelli, you called my mother and you told her, you said, I can't guarantee you another down of football after college, but I guarantee I'm going to take care of him as if he's my own, and I'll make sure he gets a college degree. I have 2 of them, and I thank you for it. Brian White, one of the smartest men I ever met. He used to read the book, each page he would read it and rip it out. He said it forces me to retain information, so he has a degree from Notre Dame and Harvard. So I love you all. Thank you all for making this special. And go Rebels.
Every interaction I've ever had with Hunky, I come away inspired. And by the way, the over-under on the length of his speech was set at 15.5 minutes, and he went under. So there may or may not be some money exchanging hands out there as well. Our next inductee is nothing less than a legendary figure in his sport. Pried away from his alma mater in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he was charged by local golf leaders with making UNLV relevant on the links. He quickly aced that mission and then some, as he built Rebel Golf from near anonymity into a collegiate powerhouse that produced one team and 2 individual NCAA championships during his record-setting tenure. The accomplishments over 34 seasons are too numerous to list in full, but here's a few. How about 2-time National Coach of the Year, an NCAA record 31 straight appearances at the NCAA Golf Regionals, an unprecedented 22 trips to the national finals, 11 top 8 finishes, 48 All-Americans, a National Player of the Year award, and the National Freshman of the Year, a U.S. Amateur champ, 8 conference championships, 89 all-conference players, 22 All-America scholars, and 4 academic All-Americans. No less than a dozen of his players have gone on to the PGA Tour, combining for 31 pro titles, including a memorable Masters crown. Already a member of 3 other Hall of Fames tonight, he makes it 4, dare I say it, in golf terminology. Let's check out the screens and tee it up with Dwayne Knight.
My name is Dwayne Knight. I coached UNLV golf for 34 years. I am a rebel. Yeah, leaving New Mexico was kind of an interesting change for me. I'd been at UNM for many years, and Coach McGuire is the one that really got me interested in thinking about coaching, and it kind of piqued my interest, and we started getting guys playing at the world level class all over the world, getting rebels, you know, and Lobos, getting out on the tour and getting guys all over the world, trying to challenge and see if they could play, you know, with the best players in the world. I think the fact that the people that when I first left UNM to come here for UNLV, and I could feel the enthusiasm of the people here, and basketball was at the top, you know, of anybody's list to try to play for UNLV. Tark had it going, you know, it was fun. The stands were packed, and people were so excited to come and be part of a Rebel. And I think I caught part of that fever, and our goal was to start getting up to the level of maybe getting some guys to maybe win some tournaments, and then win some world tournaments, and then playing on tour. And it just kind of snowballed to where Tarkin, what he had done, opened the door for us, and we were able to get, you know, world-class players from all over the world. I think obviously winning the national championship, you know, it was a thank you to the city that said, you know, we could play these great facilities. They didn't have to open all that for us. I think in 1998, when we won the national championship, people called me from all over the world and said, hey, the Rebs won a national championship. And we were part of the city, part of the culture, part of the legacy. And once you are a Rebel and you can win at that level, it's that way for the rest of your life. I'm Dwayne Knight, and I will always be a Rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Knight was always about his players first and foremost, so it's fitting that speaking on his behalf on stage tonight is one of his former players, Darren Dorsey.
Well, it's my distinct honor to be here and speak for a coach that meant so much to so many of us. But first and foremost, Coach, on behalf of Coach, we want to congratulate all of the other inductees. Coach is happy for your well-deserved inductions and is proud to be in the UNLV athletic family and in this Hall of Fame of class with you. He'd also like to thank the Hall of Fame board and athletic director Eric Harper. Thanks to the whole entire board for this honor, especially the decision to waive the eligibility period for induction. Harp announced that Hall of Fame decision to induct Coach Knight during a celebration of our 25th anniversary of the 1998 championship. And on behalf of his entire family, that decision to honor Coach means so much to him, his family, and all of us at Rebel Golf. And on a personal level, I know Coach would want to thank Deb for all of her love and support as he built and maintained this program here. You and Keeley's efforts to support him and our entire program were a large part of our success here. Also, Coach would want to thank his entire UNLV and golf community friends. There are countless friends and colleagues who were there for him over so many decades, including many of you that are joining him here tonight. Eric Harper, Tina Kunzer-Murphy, Steve Spatafor, Dr. Mark, Amy Bush, and the entire UNLV Athletic Department staff, as long as some longtime golf community friends like Jerry Roberts, who helped open the doors for him along the way. Coach also really wants to say he cannot thank those in the Rebel Golf Foundation enough, and that starts with Ted Quirk, Alan Duncan, and Tom Hartley, who helped bring him here, to the longtime RGF board member friends, which are Jim Bianco, Bill Powlis, and Dan Albrechts, who are here tonight. That foundation support, along with the relationships with Christina Hickson, Chuck Mathewson and IGT, Steve Wynn, Dave Johnson, the Las Vegas founders, and so many other donors and leaders across this community that got behind the program and helped make this program a success. He also wants to say thank you to all the former players that are here tonight for being here. Warren Scuda, Ed Fryatt, Eric Schroeder, members of the 98 National Championship team. It's Bill Lundy, Chris Berry, Jeremy Anderson, Scott Lander, Scott Wingfield, J.C. Deacon, J.J. Gresco, and Jack Trent are all here tonight. And Coach thanks you and all the hundreds of players who played for him here at UNLV. As each and every one of you made his career here more worthwhile. But I know Coach would never talk about himself, but I'm going to take just a minute or two to tell you, provide a glimpse into a couple of principles that Coach Knight built his program upon. He applied them to himself, his players, and his coaches, and they explain a lot about a Hall of Fame career. While there are a whole lot more, I just thought two of them would be very apt for tonight, and those are numbers don't lie, and that you leave things better than you found them. And those numbers don't lie because golf is a great yet challenging sport, and because scores don't allow for excuses or shortcuts. You heard a small sampling of the numbers from Coach Knight's UNLV career in that video between the national championships, conference championships, All-Americans, representation on Walker, Palmer, Ryder, President's Cup teams, major championships, professional victories around the world, and former Rebels out there week in, week out, including this week. And those numbers do not lie about Coach Knight's legacy of success over more than 3 decades at UNLV. He leaves results that everyone else aspires to, but few will ever achieve. And the second is to leave them things better than you found them. When Coach Knight arrived at UNLV, the men's golf program was a club sport and had an office in a converted closet. Within 5 years, he put together teams that advanced in the postseason, and he coached an individual national champion in Warren Scuda. That began decades of national prominence, a team national championship, and another individual national champion with Ryan Moore among countless other and individual accomplishments. But Coach did so by building a program that could financially sustain itself and its operations via the Rebel Golf Foundation. That allowed us to compete at the highest level and was ahead of its time. That legacy continues today here and while being emulated by countless golf programs across the country. And let's not forget that 2 of Coach Knight's former assistant coaches are already in the Golf Coaches Association of America Hall of Fame, Bruce Hepler and J.T. Higgins. JT got his own national championship leading Texas A&M. And there's another one that's just simply waiting on that, and he's sitting over there, and that's J.C. Deacon, who's defending his team's national championship in a couple of weeks. There are 2 others, Chris Riley and Phil Rowe, who are currently also leading Division I golf programs themselves. So beyond the players that you see on television and the professional ranks, a fitting example of Coach Knight's legacy was last year's final match at the NCAA Championship, where J.C. Deacon's Florida Gators beat Bruce Hepler's Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in the final match. Both of them were Dwayne Knight's former assistant coaches. So though he's no longer coaching himself, Coach Knight's principles and teachings remain a part of college golf at the highest level and will do so for decades to come. Indeed, Coach made an impact on all of us. His legacy is that he left UNLV, UNLV athletics, college golf, and the lives of every former player in Cal better than he found them. And that's that second principle. So he is a proud inductee in this UNLV Athletic Hall of Fame, and he will always be a Rebel.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Dwayne Knight.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, all the people that are here. If some of my former players are here, could you please stand up, because you came from all over the world, basically, to be here. These guys are just terrific. Warren Scuda was one of my top recruits, and he's here tonight with his daughter. And he was one of my first, I guess, All-American right here, and have been a Rebel ever since. And it's a great city. It's a great place to come here and challenge yourself, get good degrees, and hopefully play on the PGA Tour. And we've got a lot of guys out there playing, which is a lot of fun. I want to thank my family for all the things that they have done for us all through these years. Deb, and I'm not sure where you are right now, but I wish you would stand up, because she's been a big part of all the guys and taking them. And Keely, my daughter over here, she was here tonight. But it's a great place to be a Rebel, as you guys all know. And this room tonight, it just shows the enthusiasm of what can be. And Rebel Golf has been at the very top of the chain. To be a Rebel is great, and I'm very proud to be part of it and part of this team. And thank you very much for the plaque.
Up next is an All-America first baseman slugger who was the most feared home run hitter in college baseball during the late 1980s. The San Diego native came to Las Vegas after an All-American junior college career in Idaho that culminated in a national championship. Signing on to play for Hall of Fame Rebel head coach Fred Dallimore, his big bat turned heads by leading the league in long balls. After an injury sidelined him the following season, he saved the best for last as a senior campaign that made him a national name in college baseball, belting a collegiate best 26 home runs while maintaining a .367 batting average and setting the program record with an eye-popping 34-game hitting streak that at the time was tied for the 5th longest in the sport's history. His 44 career long balls in just 2 seasons on the field still ranked him 3rd in the UNLV record book. Drafted by the Oakland A's, he spent some time in the minor leagues, but never really left the game behind, serving as a coach on every level of amateur baseball. And tonight, he becomes just the 6th baseball player inducted into the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame. Now let's touch them all with Kevin Loftus.
My name is Kevin Loftus. I played baseball at UNLV, and I am a Rebel. I came out of San Diego, California, played at Mount Carmel High School, and ended up going to a junior college at the time, which was a premier junior college that had won the national championship, College of Southern Idaho, Twin Falls, Idaho. And I was recruited by Fred Dallimore at the JUCO World Series. He finally got to see me play, and the rest is kind of history. It was pretty simple. I got recruited by most of the top 30 schools in the country, and UNLV just fit after visiting, and I loved it. Great experience. So, one thing about UNLV is my entire time in the program, we never left the top 25. We were top 25 the entire time. The Big West Conference at the time is basically like the SEC, ACC is now. We were with the premier teams in the country. My first year, I played on a phenomenal team. They had just lost Matt Williams and Mike Oglesby. That was their home runs. And Coach Dallimore told me, well, you need to make up, their home runs. Well, it was basically 50 home runs between the two of them. So he wanted one guy. It was kind of a running joke. We had a great club, not as good as the 88 team, but we were pretty solid. We'd lost the catcher. And so we kind of put that team, Coach Dallimore, Coach Sosby, Coach DeSantis put that team together, and we did well. And we were, I think there was 5 teams out of the Big West that year that went to the regional playoffs, but I ended up leading the nation in home runs. And I broke the school record against LSU. I hit 3 home runs in my last game. I actually hit 3 home runs in my last game in junior college at the JUCO World Series, and I hit 3 home runs in a game in my last game at UNLV. I am Kevin Loftus, and I will always be a Rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Kevin Loftus.
Just like Mr. Cooper said, just because I cry, don't mean I'm soft. Louis would say I'm milquetoast, but other than that. When they gave me the time that this is how long you have to speak, I'm like, those are my side notes. That's how much time I would spend on side. So I had to write this out. And this is pretty special to me. I just want to thank, all the other inductees. I want to thank Stan Stolte was the one that nominated me. I want to thank everybody who. I want to thank everybody that voted, that got me, on here. And I just want to say congratulations to all the other inductees, the people that are here. Lori, who I haven't seen in probably 15 years, something like that. We played against them every year. We played a game, and we got our butts kicked every year. We could not touch Lori. I mean, it was like Lori just. So anyway, I need to thank a few people, and then I will tell you what this means to me. I want to start by thanking all of these people on this side, this whole group. I've got high school teammates, Team USA teammates, UNLV alumni, junior college teammates. There's no possible way I can sit here and tell all the stories that I would have. Amazing teammates. They made this super special for me.
So I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you guys traveling. You guys are awesome. It's amazing. I want to thank my sister Melissa and my brother-in-law Andy for their love and support. I thank you. I love you. I love both of you. And there's someone super special that I need to introduce to you, and that is the love of my life, my daughter, Danya, right here in the front. And so over the years, forgive me if I seem like I'm reading because I have to, or you'd go like, he's got to get off the stage, okay? So I've got to read, and I've got to kind of follow script. Over the years, so my career ended because of a wrist injury. I've ended up in my life, I've had 11 wrist surgeries, along with shoulder and neck and back and knee and all the other stuff. And, you know, over the years, people have told me what a shame it was that shortened my career. It broke my heart. I had a lot of personal struggles after that. I didn't know who to be, what to do. I wasn't on a team anymore. It's a big transition for those of you that have been injured, or just when the career's over, it's a tough transition for athletes. And those of you who support the program and support these athletes, it's just amazing. It's something only an athlete or a teammate can understand. It's really, really a hard thing. But, you know, so when the injury came, I ended up, so if I don't get injured, I don't meet her. And that would have been the real shame. So again, Danya, I love you. I'm so incredibly proud of the young, very successful, and high integrity person that you are. You're amazing. I love you. So mom and dad both have passed. Mom most recently. Those of you who hung around at that in that late 80s saw my parents, had their motorhome around. They were, you know, cooking dinner for the players, and they stayed at Circus. And my dad would sit on the right field side, and he's you know, over there yelling encouragement, but more so it wasn't really encouragement. It was like, I mean, I remember yelling. Probably every single player heard the name from my dad in a negative tone, right? So he was like that seventh coach that we had, because back in the day we could have a lot of coaches, and so they both passed, and so I'd like to talk about every single experience, but I can't, and I've said that. I just can't. I can't talk about the level of play when people go, man, the SEC and the ACC, and especially in baseball, well, every sport now. That's what the Big West was. The Big West was that's who we played. We were the programs. Pac-10, yeah, they were good teams and everything, but the Big West was sending 5-6 teams to the regionals. And you're talking about the Long Beach States and the Fresno States. Well, that's over there. So people don't understand that. Yeah, like you played at UNLV. I live in Georgia now, so they're going, you didn't play in the SEC? Like it was a big deal. But I just don't have the time. So what I'd like to focus on is the other dads I had. I say the word dads as the coaches that I had in my life, because they all treated me like a son, all of them. Starting in San Diego, California, Coach Sammy Blaylock. I have some Mount Carmel teammates from here. But Coach Sammy Blaylock, who retired, he's still kicking around at, what's he, like 98 or something now, Fuzz? I don't know. But he was amazing, but so, you know, Sam taught me he gave me my baseball IQ. From there, I went to junior college in Idaho, and I was coached by Jim Skip Walker. He taught me how to hit. He was the one that taught me the basic mechanics of hitting, and he's the best in the country. He's still the best hitting mind I've ever seen or been around. But this is about UNLV, And I was lucky enough to have three coaches here, three in one program that pushed me forward. I was a bit of a, playing for the Rebels, I was a bit of a rebel. I was a bit of a troublemaker. And I didn't know what a classroom was. I had to be pointed in the direction or led by hand. I was, baby food. I was in the Gerber's class. So the three coaches, one is here, not here tonight. So Frankie DeSantis, who's a local, he's now here in Vegas, lives here full time. If you're here, Frankie, I haven't seen you. But he said he might not be able to make it. Frankie was the one that when I came here, I thought he was going to punch me in the face every day I walked on the field. And that was probably because I totally deserved it because I was a prima donna, right? So that was Frankie. But Frankie taught me, he was a catcher, and he taught me to think like a pitcher and a catcher. He taught me how to stand there and take a fastball right down the middle and not show body language. He's like, you're going to get a breaking ball. He goes, you think you're going to get a fastball? You're going to get a breaking ball. But it was the rest of it. It was a little intangibles. That was what Frank taught me. I value Frankie very much. I'm sad he's not here. Then we have Coach Rod Sosby, who's right here, sitting with Coach Dallimore, who went on to coach. He was the head coach here for a while as well. Sos was the one that when I came here, he said the best thing a coach has probably ever said to me. He said, I'm not saying one thing about your mechanics. I'm not trying to fix your swing. I'm not trying to do anything. If you need me, I'm here. That was it. He never said anything. He just coached me up. If he saw something and he knew I wanted to hear it, he's also the one that kept me from quitting. Because Fred and I did not see eye to eye on basically everything, right? I mean, it was a 24/7 battle, whether it was him 2 o'clock in the morning getting a call from Las Vegas PD going, so we fought a lot. So, but Freddie never let up on me. But Rod was the one after I had the surgery, I had the red shirt year, and I came back, and I just said, I'm done. I don't have it anymore. My swing's too long. Sos was the one that kept me in the program. Sos the one that encouraged me that I could do it. He's also the guy that took me down in the bullpen when I was pouting and being myself and put his finger in my chest and kept me fighting. But never did it in front of anybody else, never did. He always just didn't, he pushed me. Sos, I love you, man. I appreciate everything that you did for me. Here and now we all these years later that we still chat and it's great. Then of course there's Freddie D, the famous Freddie D. He was gas pedal to the floor with me all the time. Never, not one day, not 1 minute got by without him saying something to me. Most of what he said cannot be repeated in here. It just can't. There's some nice looking people. I mean, you look like some respectable, classy people. No. And this was daily. This was about class. That's all it was with Fred, right? So anyway, Fred, we're both bullheaded. And we battled, but one of the things that he would do is, what Fred understood about me is he knew that he could push, that he knew that I was disciplined enough in my craft as a hitter that he would push me that I wanted to prove him wrong. And when I did, we were best friends for about 5 minutes. Maybe 3 minutes, I don't know. But he pushed me. But I will give you one quote from Fred that I heard, I think, every day in the program. I don't think a day went by I didn't hear this. And this is PC, it's correct. It doesn't have any language. Although the language came in here, but I just deleted it. This is Fred for me. Loftus, I can tell you one thing. You're the last Southern California prima donna I'm ever recruiting in this program. This was every day. So nowadays, Fred and I speak. We probably talk every other week, every 3 weeks. And it's just amazing to have the love and respect and the conversations. He still helps me out. I need a resume. I mean, he jumps on it right away. He helps me out. He'll make a phone call, something with coaching, whatever. I have a question, he does that stuff. So I'd like to end with a eulogy that the part of my dad, who can't be here. I don't know if I can get through this. I did this at his service 5 years ago. I just want to read, and I've turned it into a Father's Day thing that I post on Facebook every year. So I'm just going to read it straight out. This little red, white, and red sphere was, has, and is my life since I was conceived. I was given my first glove and ball when I was 4. Red's cardinal cap and a crappy pleather glove I slept with for years. The glove was my pillow. I still have it. I cried and cried. I wasn't allowed to play at 6 years old with the 8-year-olds. Dad said, soon, son. 2 years was like an eternity, but I waited for my chance. I watched all the superstar 8-year-olds on the field. Wait, before I start this, I just remembered, I'm trying to read this thing. And Fred knows you can do this, because I just had to mention this. The biggest challenge they probably had was keeping me and, where was Reg? Reg's back there. Keeping me and Reggie from napping during weights. We didn't like the weight room at 6 a.m. I just saw your bald head, dude, and I'm like, oh man, I skipped over that part. Anyway, sorry. You can't mess with the flash, okay? You can't do that. Anyway, so the glove is, so I'm 6 years old, and but then came the day I got to try out. And my heart was so happy to get the chance. I was picked by my dad in the last round, I found out later, and my journey began. Our team was the Cardinals, not an accident by my dad. Like any kid, I was scared to death of the baseballs. So Dad, being the genius he was, took me to the field one Sunday. Nanny and Mom, my mom's mom, Grandma, Nanny, in tow. Dad brought the usual bucket of balls, the glove, but for some reason he brought a helmet. I started whacking balls all over the yard like I usually do. Then he threw the first inside pitch and I flinched. He said, son, if you want to be a great hitter, you cannot be afraid of the ball. As we continued, and I kept flinching at the inside pitch, he walked in and he puts the helmet on my head. Son, I love you. This is going to hurt. I know you love baseball, and you want and can be a great hitter so badly. But if you want to be a great hitter, you cannot be afraid of the ball. Then he told me, if you flinch at an inside pitch, I'm hitting you in the helmet. Thinking no way in the world my dad is going to hit me in the head with a baseball. I jumped back in the box and started whacking balls. Then he came inside. I flinched, next pitch, bang, off the head. A few more balls hit, pitch inside, I flinched, bang, off the head. Over and over and over and over and over. Nanny and Mom are in the dugout crying, yelling at my dad to stop doing this. My dad's response is, go sit in the truck. This is between me and my son. As they left, I'm crying my eyes out. And it taught me the most valuable lesson in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. My dad, those of you who know him, this story means a lot more because you know how the way he talked. Get back in the box. We'll be here until you're not afraid of the ball. This would have gone on for 3 days, okay? So as he kept going and the tears flowed, I started to understand it didn't hurt that bad, and I quit flinching. Dad said, now you have it, son. No fear. No one will be scared but the pitcher. Fast forward 14 years and we're playing against Oklahoma and some big farm boy is pitching against us. I think he drilled Reed Peters in the back. He's staring at me, I'm staring at him. He comes right under my chin. And all I did was lift my chin. And right then and there on the spot, I remember being 8 years old. I looked at my dad, he looked at me. The one and only time we ever made eye-to-eye contact on a baseball field when I was playing. And it was a nod from me, a thank you, and a nod back from my dad, I love you, son. Then and there, I was just that 8-year-old scared little kid, right there on the spot. I'd like to say I hit a home run on the next pitch and was the hero of the game, but I didn't. I struck out on a slider in the dirt. But I hit many home runs before, I hit many after. All because the dad stood firm and stood firm with his son because he saw what I wanted, to be a great hitter. To a dad who never stopped loving and wanting the best for his son, thanks, Dad. I miss you. I loved your dedication to making me the best. Thank you to the committee again, all the other amazing athletes, all the other coaches, the staff, Stan for the nomination, and go Rebels. Thank you very much.
A rare two-sport collegiate athlete in the modern era, our next inductee earned All-America honors at 2 different softball positions and eventually went on to play the sport professionally and internationally. The Canadian import transferred from an American JC and immediately made a big impact all over the field here at UNLV. Recruited to Las Vegas by UNLV Hall of Fame head coach Shan McDonald, she both pitched and played infield for the upstart Rebel program, building something special in the desert. The team shortstop in 1990, she earned All-America honors after batting .398 as the Scarlet and Gray made it all the way to their first College World Series. As a senior the next season, she moved to third base and was named Big West Conference Field Player of the Year and repeat All-American despite the position change. Now, we'll be hearing more about her outstanding 1991 team here in just a few minutes, but she did return to her hoop roots in her final year of eligibility, playing 1 season for the Lady Rebel basketball program. Eventually working at her alma mater in the athletics department and as an assistant coach under McDonald, she was a 10-year member of the Canadian national softball team, competing in the 1996 Olympic Games and playing professionally before hanging up her cleats. Let's take a hot shot at learning more about Christine Paris.
My name is Christine Paris. I played basketball and softball at UNLV in the 1990s. I'm proud to be a Rebel. So I'm from a town outside of Toronto, Canada. I played for various teams and just always thought, you know, somebody's going to notice me. I'm going to get a chance to go and play at the next level. I went to a small school called Crowder College in Neosho, Missouri. And at the time, we looked for it on the map. I don't even think it was on the map. But again, I was feeling pretty hopeful that I could do just about anything. After those 2 years, I had a lot of opportunity open up to me. I was All-American for both those 2 years. Yeah, just started looking at opportunities to play at the next level. I was getting invitations for the national team tryouts and various opportunities that way. So I thought I really wanted to benchmark my talent against the best, and just noticed the opportunity there, and wanted to start my kind of career to go to the next level at UNLV. To be quite honest, I didn't know anything about the World Series. I didn't really know much about the college system. I was pretty green coming in, and I just know that we had a really good team that gelled right away. A team that really just, didn't have a lot of egos. We all had a role to play. I think I was sharing that with some of my teammates that are going to be inducted as well, and just saying that, there were no real conflicts on the team. So I think as a team, we all kind of had a role to play, and everybody felt very comfortable in that role. And the World Series conversation started coming up after we just started having a lot of success. Of course, I was like, oh, wow, World Series, great. It's just a cherry on the top of playing an incredible season. But we didn't win the conference. So for us, we went in as at-large bid. And when we got the call, it was absolute elation, that we were going to have an opportunity to go postseason for the first time at UNLV. And just over the moon. I'm Christine Paris, and I will always be a rebel. Be a rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Miss Christine Paris.
This down a little bit. So thank you so much. I really appreciate, my notes right now are gone. Really appreciate to be honored with this amazing class of inductees, and more importantly, to be inducted with my team. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than standing up here with the people that helped get you there, people that were in the grind with you, in the dugout, being made to cheer by Coach Shan, and just enjoying every moment with you guys is most special to me tonight. So I want to start off by not being too long and apologizing for the photo that's on my award, because it's embarrassing. My daughter's laughing like, Mom, really? So she's into fashion and not sports, and somehow God blessed me with two amazing daughters that don't throw balls, but that's all good. We won't talk about that. Lori has a son that throws a ball. Cherie's daughter throws a ball. What is that about? I don't know. But anyways, she did play a little slow pitch, so that's incredible. I came from like the video says, I came from a small town, and fairly small town in Toronto, Canada, and we played what now is called rep softball. Back then it was just tournament softball, like all of my teammates here. We were in the grind weekend after weekend, playing multiple tournaments, throwing through the back end of tournaments, playing multiple games in a day, not baseball playing, one time, or the pitcher playing, being able to have pitch counts. Lori probably would play a whole tournament all on her own. So anyways, not to digress. But yeah, I think the most amazing thing for me is that, I had a goal and a dream when I was young to be at the highest stage and never knew the path. And the path was provided to me by basically an umpire that saw me play one day, just random, and told a coach in the U.S. So that's how I got to the U.S. I always thought I was good, didn't know how to get there, and then just random, something like that happens, and it just changes your life. Went off to junior college, as you guys heard, and wanted to play 1 year. I was told I only could play 1 year and go to Division I. Apparently, I didn't write the ACTs or SATs because I didn't know anything about that. There was no internet. Paris, there was no internet back then. And, I just didn't have the information to me. And so went off to junior college for 2 years. And it was Coach Brian, actually, that put UNLV on the map to me. He said, we're building a great program. We've got some amazing pieces. And we want you to be a part of a great ride that we're building. I trusted him, came to UNLV, and didn't really even know, to be honest, where Las Vegas was on the map. It wasn't on my radar, but I definitely knew that it was a place that when I came here, and I know Kelly was here on my recruiting trip when I came here in my patent leather shoes at about 120-degree Vegas heat, and she was kind enough to give me her flip-flops as I was clearly struggling on our walk around campus. But right away I knew that UNLV was my home. I played for the program for 2 years, and I have no idea why I played basketball. I think it was like, what am I going to do for, the next year? I had to finish school, and I talked to Coach Bull, and I kind of convinced him if I can have a shot at trying out and walking on, and he said, yeah, what the hell, come on over and try it out. And then he just kind of looked at me, I looked at him, and I said, well, you have to offer me a scholarship or not, what's going to happen? And he said, okay, let me talk to Coach Shan. We'll see what we can work out. So I was fortunate to play as a Lady Rebel basketball player, and that was an amazing experience. In fact, got to see how, the real money behind sports goes. We flew everywhere as opposed to, softball where we actually rode in a bus everywhere. But all those memories are what, we're going to remember for the rest of our lives, and I'm glad that was able to be here and share in this moment with my team. I do want to acknowledge a few people that are here today with me. My good friend Nancy, that I worked later on in life and always been a lifelong friend. My two sister cousins, Denise and Lisa, and they came all the way from Nova Scotia to be here tonight. My daughter Paris. My daughter Paris is here. My other daughter Taylor could not be here, and it's not Paris, it's Paris, Washington, in case you're wondering. People always ask me that. My good friend Tiffany's here, and I do want to personally acknowledge my mom that, she's a person. This award is really shared with her. She's a mom that, I was an only child, and I understand that it makes it all clear to you now how I am, but I'm an only child, and my mom never said no. She never said, when I had a dream of going to the Olympics, she never said, that's ridiculous at 8 years old, right? She always just said, you know what, keep working hard, keep doing what you want, keep believing in yourself, and you can get to where you want to be, and here I am, standing on a stage and being very proud to be a Rebel. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for the organizing committee for acknowledging me and being here tonight, and have a great night. Thank you so much.
Fondly known as Pooch, our next inductee has the unique honor of being the first UNLV Hall of Famer from the equipment department. An innovator in his field while serving for more than 3 decades, he joined the Rebels after they became conference champions in 1984. 2 seasons after becoming full-time, he moved into the role as head of equipment and was named director of equipment in 1999. A leader in his profession, his final title was Assistant Athletics Director for Equipment and Purchasing, as he elevated this position into one that oversaw not just the management of equipment, but also directing the business side of outfitting all 17 Rebel sport programs. Serving under 8 head football coaches, he will forever be credited with working with legendary head coach John Robinson in introducing the now famous UNLV Arch logo after Robinson was hired at the school in 1999. After 31 seasons on the job, he had the rare experience of going out on his own terms, retiring from the university with emeritus status in 2016. Now, after making countless players, coaches, and staff, as well as maybe some media members, look good in Rebel Red, it's his turn to wear it well as a Hall of Famer. Presenting Pooch.
My name is Paul Pucciarelli. I worked at UNLV for 31 years. I am a Rebel. What led me to UNLV was they were practicing at getting ready for the Cal Bowl in Fresno. And I got a call from the old equipment manager, Pete Valenzuela, who I had known since I was 18 years old. He was at a junior college, and at the time, I was at Citrus Junior College. They had some problem with the assistant equipment guy, and he called me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm really not doing anything. It's, we're out of school, it's Christmas break." He goes, "Would you come up and help me get the team ready for the California Bowl?" I said, "Yeah, no problem at all." So I got up there and moved into his room and started doing my job. Well, come to find out, I was standing underneath the goalpost at practice, and Harvey Hyde was the head coach at that time, and Pete was standing next to Harvey Hyde, and Harvey said, "Who's that standing over there underneath the goalpost?" And he said, That's Pooch, that's Paul Pucciarelli." He goes, I hired him as the new assistant equipment guy. And Harvey said, "How are you gonna pay him?" He said, "That's your job." So that January, after the Cal Bowl, that January, I started at UNLV. So that's how I got here. The whole thing is everything has changed. But, I think it's like having a family. When you make a commitment to a student athlete, you're kind of like the parents. The most important things is you got to house them, you got to feed them, you got to educate them, and you got to dress them. All those things. My job was in charge of the dressing part of it. And you try to treat everybody exactly the same. No one got more, no one got less. So, all in all, I think I had a great career. It's the greatest thing that happened to me. I met my wife, got beautiful stepdaughters, 2 stepdaughters. I have 3 grandsons. All these things because I came to UNLV. So I think all in all, it's been a great life. My name is Paul Pucciarelli, and I will always be a Rebel.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Paul Pucciarelli.
Holy smokes, everybody. got to get my glasses on. I had to take a few notes. Basically, I want to start off with thanking the committee for nominating me for this great honor. Once I looked at who was going to be inducted, I couldn't believe how lucky I was. The class of 2024 is probably the most diverse group in UNLV history. It is unbelievable. And I was lucky to basically my first day on the job to meet Steve Stallworth. And over the next 20 plus years, met everybody else. And I'm so grateful of having that opportunity. I would like to thank one other group, and basically they helped me be successful. Without them, I could not have been successful. And that's the students that came to work in the equipment room. They did every job that needed to be done. And tonight, I have 4 of them here on this induction ceremony, and I would like to just mention them by name, and I'm going to start with the youngest one, and then work my way back. And that is, Quentin Cohurst. He was part of the last group I hired before I retired. Then the next came along, which was Kevin Gilmore. Kevin Gilmore is basically, there was a Gilmore involved in UNLV athletics, mainly football, for over 14 years. His older brother came in, Jack, is a wide receiver. Then a year later, his dad came in and he said, my other son's going to come to school. Can he work in the equipment room? I said, yeah, that was Danny. Then later on down the road came Kevin. So for 14 years, I had a Gilmore in the program. Then came along Jody Nyman, who was hired by Tasha Smith. And Jody was mentored by Tasha, teaching her sense of urgency, what you need to do, how to be successful. And I was so happy to watch this happen because Jody was my daughter. Then, last but not least, Tasha Smith. I watched Tasha be a basketball manager when she was 18 years old. And the way she conducted herself and how she cared about the athletes. And I said, I said to myself, I gotta keep an eye on this one. Well, when she finally graduated, I called her in and I said, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know. And I said, well, I got an idea. I want to start an internship program, and I want you to be the first one. And I said, what we're going to do is we'll pay for your school and we'll give you a stipend check. But you need to get a master's degree because the only way to be really successful in college athletics is you need a master's degree. And she kind of welled up, and she goes, I'm not sure I can do this. I go, you can do this. She goes, I don't think they're going to let me into school. I said, well, this is what we'll do. You take 2 master's classes, and at that time we had a program in athletic administration. And I said, you can take those classes and not be accepted in the program, but if you do well, they'll automatically let you in. Well, lo and behold, she B+ in both classes. They let her in. And after she got her, and the whole plan was I was going to get her hired full-time. So after 2 years, she got her master's degree. We hired her on full-time. And basically, when I retired, she was named assistant athletic director in charge of purchasing and equipment. And she is one of the most wonderful people you could ever meet. I was very lucky to be around great young people. And I'll tell you what the other ones are doing. Kevin Gilmore is a principal at an elementary school here in town. Jody Nyman is a special education teacher in town. And my man Quentin is a sales rep for a large sporting goods company. So I was very lucky that almost every student that came to work for me stayed with me until they graduated. And I think our graduation rate in the equipment room was probably, and I'm not kidding you, was probably 90%. But anyway, I would like to thank everybody, and I appreciate it, and I will be a Rebel for life.
I got to tell a quick Pooch story. It's my favorite story in my 20 years here at UNLV. A football player came in to see him and said, "Pooch, you need to give me a new pair of cleats because I need to run faster." And he looked at him and he said, "Son, you couldn't go any faster if we shoved a rocket up your ass." But you know what? He got the cleats because he always took care of the student athletes. A prodigious pass rusher for the Rebels who went on to a half-decade NFL career. Our second football inductee tonight played on the other side of the ball as a freshman. The Louisiana native took head coach Jeff Horton's offer to pack up and move west as a tight end. The Rebels, however, needed help on the defensive side, and he quickly converted into a nearly unstoppable force at the end spot. 14 and a half sacks and a stunning 46 tackles for loss later, he earned an invite to the Hula Bowl, which led to being drafted by the Vikings. He would play 5 seasons in Minnesota, including at one point starting 32 straight games. His pro career included 11 sacks, 21 tackles for loss, and even an interception while wearing the purple and gold. Named a starting end on the UNLV football all-time team and the program's 7th best NFL pick by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he now becomes the 4th defensive lineman in Rebel history to reach the Hall of Fame. Let's rush over to the screens now to learn more about Tant Sawyer.
My name is Tant Sawyer. I played football at UNLV in the late 90s, and I am a Rebel. Long story, man, but my journey with how I became a Rebel. So back in high school in Bastrop, Louisiana, so my senior year was here. I was getting recruited by everybody in the nation. I hadn't passed my ACT test yet, so a lot of the big schools started to fall back. I used UNLV as my 5th visit, you know, being a small town kid coming from rural Louisiana. The big lights kind of got me, man. I called my mom, I think the first day I got there, that night, and told her I was gonna go ahead and go to UNLV. And Jermaine Webster, along with DJ Branch, was my host. And those guys are from Louisiana, so that kind of made the decision a little bit more easier. And of course, as once I got to UNLV, it made my transition a lot easier. Just having people who understood where I was from and had already kind of built a bridge, you know, for me to walk on. Yes, I caught about 30 balls a year in high school, well, about 40 balls a year in high school, you know, was used to scoring a bunch of touchdowns, so you couldn't tell me I was gonna, you know, not play offense or one day not be catching touchdowns. So, you know, we understood the offense get much of the accolades as far as all the attention. But as things went along, you know, we had a lot of good receivers at UNLV. We had good running backs, you know, a good quarterback. So I understood the ball really wasn't going to be able to be shared with everybody equally. So I felt like in order for me to have an opportunity to live my dream, I needed to move the defense, which I had played in high school. So I had experience on defense. I was also a ranked linebacker coming out. So making the transition was hard. So when Coach Harden had that conversation with me, I only had one request, and that was to wear the number 9. If I can get the number 9, I told Coach I'm ready to do it. So from there, you know, the transition kind of went pretty smooth. My name is Tant Sawyer, and I will always be a rebel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Tant Sawyer.
Appreciate everybody, appreciate everybody. So many people think, so I had to write a lot of things down. First of all, man, what a great day to be alive. I want to congratulate all my fellow Hall of Famers for being inducted. I want to thank the Creator, the Most High, for allowing me to be here today to see this day. I want to thank my mother, who's no longer here with me. May she rest in peace. I want to thank my father for both of them for giving me life. Thank the community that I was raised in. I want to thank my hometown of Bastrop, Louisiana. Thank to all my coaches from Little League, junior high, high school, and all the way up. I want to thank my cousin, Lee J. McHenry, who kind of introduced me to sports and really made us play hard as young kids, playing all across town and really competing at a high level. I was recruited by O'Neal Gilbert to come to UNLV and Coach Jeff Harden. Of course, I was recruited to play tight end and ultimately moved to defense my second year. We needed help on defense, and I was able to go over there and really transition and make things happen. I want to thank Jermaine Webster and Dijon Branch for being my host on my recruiting visit, which really allowed me to make this transition a whole lot easier. I came to UNLV as an 18-year-old student, young boy on a Greyhound bus in the hot summer of July 1995, 2,000 miles away from home. Had no family here, didn't know anyone. I just knew I had to go do something to make a better life for myself and my family. Immediately when I got here, Coach Harden put me with a 27-year-old guy who was on the team, already married, by the name of Dave White. For the guys who played with him, we called him Whitey. He's a funny comedian, man, but he was married. I couldn't understand how this guy playing my position. He's 27 years old. I mean, how am I going to compete with him? But Dave and his wife really made life a whole lot easier for me. And I had never lived with a white guy, I must be honest. Had never lived with a white guy. And it was different, man, but Dave really made me feel like I was at home. School started, and I moved into the Tonopah dorms and met my freshman roommate who's here today, Chad Monk. Ironically, another white guy. So me and Chad, man, we ate ramen noodles. He's here today with his wife, Miss Angela. We ate ramen noodles, shared TV, and I began to see the world, you know, as it really should be seen, you know, based on humanity and not so much color. With that being said, my tight end coach, Coach Tom Norquist, he gave me a book when I was a freshman. You know, everybody back home was like, man, you committed to Miami, how'd you end up at UNLV? Well, my coach gave me a book once I got here, and the book was called Make the Big Time Where You Are. And that book allowed me to really understand no matter where you at, what school you at, what you got going on, take that opportunity and make that school or make that situation with that team, make that a big time situation. And that's what I was able to do. I want to say rest in peace to a few teammates I lost over the years, which is Omar Briscoe, Marcus Robinson, Blake Livingood, and Jack. Jack, we called him Screech. He was a funny white guy from Jersey. And, man, we had so much fun with Jack. Bear with me. So, yes, I have some more thank yous. I want to thank all my UNLV football coaches. I want to thank my strength and conditioning coach, Mark Philliby, who ultimately became one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the world, along with John Binkowski, Jim Coda. I want to thank Kyle, who was our head training guy in the training room. As you know, trainers are super important. I just seen Kyle over. Stand up real quick, Kyle. Kyle's favorite words was, get some ice on you and get some water in you. He often said that. Bear with me. I want to thank all my academic advisors, Lori, Eric, Rob Philippi. All those who played a major role in my academics while I was here at UNLV. I want to thank Steve Starworth for doing such a great job making sure we was hosted well over at the hotel. I want to thank the athletic director who I had the opportunity to meet this summer, had the opportunity to meet again today, who's doing a great job at UNLV. I want to thank the UNLV Hall of Fame committee, everybody that played a role in helping me get inducted. I want to thank Tony Terrell, who's got a funny story with Tony. Tony was a freshman here at UNLV, homesick, wanted to go home, wanted to quit the football team. Ironically, I was able to have a conversation with him and get him to stay here. So Tony is now Dr. Tony Terrell. So does that mean I'm a doctor also? I want to thank Mark Wallerton, who I believe is the best sports media guy in the country. He always makes sure UNLV sports is presented at a very high level and always make sure that we get all the exposure that we need. Even in the bad times of UNLV football, he's always produced great media guys, great publications, and got us the interviews, the whole 9 yards. I want to congratulate Coach Odom, his staff, his team for the great job they did this year. UNLV football is definitely on the rise, and we're looking for bigger and better things to happen this upcoming season. I'm a firm believer that our legacy is more important than our life. Long after we're gone, it's the things that we did while we was here that's going to allow people to really know what type of people, what type of character we had. I learned in life, not one leaf falls off a tree nowhere in the world without God's permission. And with that being said, we must know that whatever happens in our life is meant to happen. Yes, sir. I'm going to leave y'all with this. This was something that was downloaded to me. When I say downloaded, I mean it came into my brain about 10 years ago. And this is what it says. It says, me and you are impossible, which makes our possibilities limitless. I'm going to say it again. It says, me and you are impossible, which makes our possibilities limitless. And I'll explain it to you. Imagine you was the only person on earth, and you never knew how you got here. And someone showed up one day and began to explain the process of birth, meaning from a zygote to an embryo, the whole process that it takes, everything that the woman go through, understanding that you was 1,000,000,001 sperms that it took, and you was the one that survived. which means that the impossible has already been done. So there's nothing in this life that you shouldn't be able to accomplish. With that being said, I'm a born rebel, and I'm a rebel for life. I appreciate y'all.
Before we get to our final inductee tonight, we want to recognize renowned illustrator Neil Portnoy, who was here earlier tonight. All of his great work that he did out on the concourse you may have seen during the reception, and the image of the class of 2024. And as a special gift for all of you when you leave tonight, we do have a poster from Portnoy's print for you to take home as another memento of the evening. Our final inductee tonight is a very large and ready to get rowdy group, right? They tied for the most wins in program history and earned a second consecutive trip to the Women's College World Series, playing in its old, humble home located in the middle of campus. This surging squad was led by a pair of All-Americans, including fellow inductee tonight, Christine Paris. On the mound, 2002 UNLV Hall of Fame inductee and first-team All-American Lori Harrigan was a dominant lefty who rewrote the program's pitching record book, along with fellow 20-game winner Kim Smith. Then known as the Lady Rebels, the team won 14 games versus ranked opponents during the regular season. They eventually finished second in the powerhouse Big West Conference with a record of 25-8-1. That effort garnered a top seed in the NCAA Northeast Regional, and despite being shipped across the country to Massachusetts, UNLV breezed its way through the double elimination event, not even allowing a run in the three-game sweep that earned them a trip to Oklahoma City. The final numbers were startling for this team. Overall record, 49-17-1. Win percentage of .738. Final national ranking of 5th. 67 school records set or tied. 28 shutouts. A team ERA of .62. 4 All-West Region honorees, and the Conference and Region Coach of the Year. It all adds up to the 1991 Rebels becoming just the second softball team inducted into the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame. Let's round third and start heading for home with some words from the head coach of the 1991 Rebel softball team.
I think some of the things, though, from the 91 team that are really important to recognize, as you go through the roster, there's 9 of the athletes from the 91 team that took a chance on us a year prior, because the 91 team was only the 3rd year of our efforts as a staff for our era. And so the first couple years, the second year, those athletes took a chance on us when we were under 500. And it's that group of kids, at the time, kids that really were the building block, not just for 91 recognition, but they're the ones that built the program. In 90, we went to the World Series with basically that group of athletes. And then coming into 91, 92, that group stayed consistent. And I would say I'd never coached a team that really managed themselves also and self-checked each other athletes at the level that they did. I'm very proud of who they were as athletes and individuals. I don't even know where to start because the whole roster was strong. And I keep going back to a year or two prior to 91, those athletes that took a chance, they were good. So you had players coming from some of the top programs in the US, in California, that said, okay, let's take a chance on UNLV. So when you have players like Lori Harrigan, Dina Baker, Felicia Benjamin, I mean, I can just go through the whole team. There's really not a player on there that you don't go, wow, legit. So, you know, we've got players that came from Oklahoma, from Washington, players that throughout the country were recognizing that UNLV could be a place that they could make their mark, and they did.
What do you want to finish with? What message do you want to give your former players gathered there watching this?
Oh, let's see. Oh, Mark. Hold on. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna cry. And they're gonna go, oh gosh, coach is crying again. Hi, all you 91 softball divas. You guys, I hope you're so proud of who you are, who you have been in the UNLV softball program, because you guys, you are the groundwork and the foundation for what UNLV softball stands for. I sure wish I could be there with you guys. No, my heart is there, and I'm hoping that somebody's FaceTiming me right now so I can see what's going on. Go Rebs, so proud of you.
All right, let's bring them up. Ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest members of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, players, coaches, and staff of the 1991 UNLV softball team.
So I was told we all get to speak, so we should be out of here by 11. Just kidding. So I just want to start off by saying what a tremendous honor this is to be the one that actually gets to speak on behalf of this amazing team. I can't say it any better than Shan did. Shan is really a reason why we had a lot of success. Shan did take a chance on a group of women that came together and started the foundation of this program. She is the one who assembled an amazing coaching staff with Brian Colsey and Leanne Jarvis, who really recruited the best talent that you see on this stage. I would not want to miss the opportunity to call out our sports information director, Chris Johnson, who actually crafted the most amazing articles and made us look so good and maintained all of our stats. And so, you know, when you hear them, it's all due to him. I also would like to point out Larry Chin. You were amazing to us, and we thank you so much for everything you did. Can't forget Pooch as well. I mean, I really think that that's where you learned everything about the entire athletic department, because you know that's where all the drama happened too. So he had the tea, I'll tell you. He knew everything that was going on. You know, we spent, when they talk about the stadium being in the middle of campus, there was times that, you talk about the foundation, there was times that our practices were picking up rocks to make sure that we cleared off the field. And now there is a beautiful stadium that the softball program gets to enjoy, and I will 100% say that it is truly from the foundation that the ladies on this stage have built. It's a complete honor. I want to, on behalf of everybody on this stage as well, I think I can confidently say to Shan that we love you. We are glad that you're okay. Shan was involved in an accident early this year, and she was unable to attend. We love her so much, and we're sad that she was not able to attend with us. You know, everybody on this stage, we all grew up together. We learned a lot of life lessons together. We went through quite a bit. We had a lot of fun together. So Hunky, Kevin, any other of the football players that are here from the late 80s and early 90s, if you could limit your stories, we would appreciate that. But we had an amazing, amazing time in college. And, you know, when I I'm sure a lot of our parents feel the same way, but you know, when you're coming out to Las Vegas to go to college and you see all these casinos, your parents sometimes might get a little hesitant on wanting you to go here. My parents drove out here from California today, and I will say when I went on my recruiting trip to UNLV and I came home off the plane and my ear was pierced because of a party we were at. My mom and dad really were questioning whether I should come here. But I will say that my mom and dad, 85 and 80 respectively, are now wanting to be my son's agent to try to get him to come here to UNLV because they love the school so much. And I also want to just give a quick shout out to my son, who is my heart and my why. You know, I'm just so glad that he was able to get the opportunity to hear from so many strong men in this organization. Thank you so much for being an influence in everything that you do. Thank you to all of the inductees as well. The mark that you left on the world of sport is amazing, and your contributions we are truly appreciative of. On behalf of all of our families and friends that are here, and I will speak for my teammates, the fact that you are all here supporting us and that you supported us through our careers and our journey to the success that we had with this program, we'll be forever grateful. So to end, I would like to introduce our roster as it was stated in 1991, so I don't have to go through all the maiden names and hyphen names. Some of the players could not be here with us tonight, but we miss them. There's only a few that aren't here. Most of our team is here. First is Dina Baker. Next is Felicia Benjamins. Holly Chadwick. Cherie Corneal. Zenja Dunn. Kim Harris. Kelly Camp. Kenda Leffler. Michelle Moreno, Christine Paris, Trisha Reimke, Kim Smith, Trish Spencer, Erica Swanson. As you can tell, she was the wild one of the group. So lastly, we all would like to thank the committee for actually honoring our recognition, our contributions to this sport. Thank you, and we also want to thank Holly for actually being the one to fight for this induction with a beautifully written letter. So thank you to everybody, to my team. I love you more than anything, and thank you. It's okay.
And Lori Harrigan, she forgot to announce her own name. What a night. Before we leave, I do want to please have all of the honorees tonight come up on stage so we can get a class photo with everybody who was honored tonight. And for all of you, thank you again for coming out and celebrating our great Rebels of the past, and we appreciate your continued support for our Rebels of the past, present, and future. Thank you.